EV9. Here we go. It's a big old beast, isn't it? Look at this.
First impressions. Well, it's raining a lot. The wiper blades are very good, so that's good. And it's been bonging at me a bit, but I think we've just worked out how to turn most of those off. First impressions, it's big, isn't it? It's very big. I quite like it. For one of these, I think it's slightly different to some SUVs, just I think by nature of the size of it, isn't it? I mean, you're a long way away. I can smack you in the head if I feel so inclined, but it's a bit more of a stretch, but you can't reach the screen, can you? So
I can now. So hello, it's raining now. I've moved the seat all the way forward. It's probably raining. I should explain, for continuity reasons, I'm wearing a coat. I can now touch the screen, but I've had to put my seat all the way forward, which is less comfortable. And that's irritating as a passenger.
The seats in this are very comfy, though. I do.
They are super comfy.
They're very good seats.
Yes. There's a lot of tech up here. There's a lot of screens as well. So a big touch screen in the centre with, I assume, touch-sensitive buttons underneath. Good. Not particularly touch-sensitive buttons underneath. We're just trying to press the button to make it work. Come on.
Press the button.
Come on. Pressing the button.
What would be...
But at least there is a proper volume knob. Well, you just press the medium button, but there's a volume knob, so you can at least turn it down. I've got to show you this, because this is... Look at this. Filthy conditions. The things that we do to bring you road tests, eh? At least we're not on the convertibles yet.
I like the regen on the paddles, that's quite good, so you can dial those up. I'm currently in iPedal Max, whatever that means. I think that means all the regen. We can do 0 to 1, 2, 3 or max, so... Other than that, what do you say about them, really? It goes left and goes right, the steering's not particularly communicative, but it's raining a hell of a lot now. Hopefully you can still hear it.
Well, what can we say about it? It's a £65,000 Uber SUV with a lot of space, a lot of seats, and lots of nice touches in terms of lighting and trim. It's quite nicely appointed. I'm not a massive fan of the 90s spec grey, I have to say. The grey does remind me of Kias of the 90s and early noughties, which were fine. Yeah, reasonable wipers. It is nice to have some physical buttons on the dashboard so you can adjust the climate control from the bottom. Ah, there we go. Oh no. No.
So what have we decided? Well, lack of steering feel is good when you're aquaplaning.
Absolutely
well, it's bad.
not. Yes.
It's bad, is it? Although, is it better not to know that you're about to die?
It is wetter than an otter's pocket out here, and there's some pretty deep water. And I went through some pretty deep water, and this is a heavy car. And you think, it'll probably be okay. And because I don't want to crash into oncoming traffic, I had to stay on my side of the road. And of course, the car just decided it wanted to go to the left, which is fine. But I have no idea whatsoever what the car's doing through this enormous steering wheel, which is sort of a bit shaped like a sloth, but not quite as bad as the previous ones. But again, it's hugely chunky. What is with these super chunky steering wheels?
Do you have just very small hands? I found it quite nice.
Well, that's fine, but not everyone has giant man hands, do they? I have very delicate man hands, as it turns out. But on the other hand, this is very comfortable. It's like driving an armchair. Very comfy. If you think sort of the older Land Rover, Range Rovers, like the L322 sort of seat, it reminds me a lot of that, to be completely honest.
There's a lot of puddles down this road.
There's a lot of puddles. Well, the other problem is that this is quite a big car, so you haven't got a choice but to go through every pothole and every puddle.
Yes, I found that if you're on your side of the road, you're taking up pretty much the entire lane, aren't you? I think.
Yes,
fair to say.
Following the Lotus Emira we drove earlier in front, or one very much like. I think that's the V6 actually in front. We drove the 2.
I'd rather be in that, if I'm honest.
Yes, but that looks a lot smaller. It is a lot smaller, but you can see what I mean. We are taking up most of this road. Some other observations about this thing then. Well, it is quite comfortable. It is also quite expensive at £65,000. And there is a lot of tech in it. There's also a huge amount of information. I have to say, coming to this the first time round, just jumping in the seat and driving off and not really looking at it, well, there's just a lot going on. What is excellent though is if you decide to indicate, it has a little blind spot monitoring thing, so you can see if there is a cyclist in your blind spot. More floodwater coming up. So if you've listened to our podcast recently, you'll know we've talked about floodwater and the dangers of it. It's an excellent podcast, you should listen. Uh-oh.
What is it, bonging at you?
I don't know, it's bonging because I'm doing 37 in a 40. 36 in a 40.
Bonging at you because it's wet.
Bonging at me because I'm wet.
Welcome to UK Weather Watch.